Alright, in this video I'm going to go through rearranging equations in order to find out what x is. So the key thing is that we have bed mass. When you are solving a question, then you go through the bed mass process as outlined here. However, when you're rearranging, so you can find x is equal to something, you go in the reverse direction. So if you forget this, always write it in the side of your paper. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't attract any marks and you can't be penalized for it during a test. So write your bed mass, solving, you go down, rearranging, you go up. Alright, let's see how this applies to a question. So let's consider the first one here. We've got x plus 2 equals 15. So I want x by itself, so I need to kick out the plus 2. If I move it to the other side, I do the opposite mathematical operation. Now the opposite of a plus is a minus. So on the next line here, x will be equal to 15 minus 2. I can solve 15 minus 2, and that will be equal to 13. That's all I have to do. In the next question, x minus 10 equals minus 5. So I want x there and I want to kick out the minus 10. I need to move it to the other side. What's the opposite of a minus? It's a plus. So the next line here will be x is equal to minus 5 plus 10. So x will be equal to 5, a positive 5. In the next one, I want x and I want to get rid of that 2. Now because the number is sitting next to the letter, those are times. What is the opposite function of times? It's divide. So the next line here will be x is equal to 10 divided by 2. X will be equal to 5. In this one here, x is divided by 10. So we want that there and we want to get rid of the divide by 10, move it to the other side. What's the opposite of divide by? It's times by. So x is equal to 5 times 10, which equals 50. Okay, in this one here we have, it's a little different. We've got x cubed, or x to the power of 3, is equal to 27. So this is technically x cubed is equal to 27. Now when we're actually moving a cube to the other side, we need to do the inverse power. Now an inverse power is when the inverse is when you flip the fraction. So 3 is technically 3 over 1. So on the other side that's going to be the inverse. So that will be 27 to the power of 1/3. See how that's flipped around? Now you can't really do these ones in your head, so you will need to use a calculator, and the answer for this one is actually 3. Here we have the square root of x is equal to 5. Now what we need to remember about a square root is that a square root is actually to the power of a half is equal to 5. So when I move this to the other side, I need to do the inverse. So x is equal to 5 to the power of 2 over 1. See how that's just flipped over? So that's the inverse. Now 2 divided by 1 is simply 2, so x is equal to 5 squared. So 5 5s are 25. In this one here, we've got 3x plus 8 equals minus 10. So we're looking at double operations, so that means we're just going to be doing 2 steps now. So I have a plus 8 and I have a times by 3. Remember the number next to the letter is times. So if I follow the reverse bed mass, I need to move the plus 8 to the other side. So if that's plus 8, on the other side it will be minus 8. 3x is going to equal minus 10 minus 8. So 3x is equal to minus 18. This is times by, so on the other side it will be divide by. So x is equal to minus 18 divided by 3. So x is equal to negative and a positive makes a negative, and 3's into 8 goes 6 times. Right, let's look at the next one. I've got a divide by and I've got a minus. So if I go into BEDMAS in reverse, the subtraction is going to occur before the division. So over here I have minus 10, so on the other side it will be plus 10. X divided by 4 is going to equal the 10 plus the 10 from the other side. So x over 4 is equal to 20. Now that's a divide by 4, so on the other side it will be times by 4. So x is equal to 20 times 4, so x is equal to 80. Now with this one here, because you see the divide by line goes all the way across that expression here, technically you can consider that to be in brackets. So that means brackets is last on the list, so the first thing that you will need to shift is divide by 10. So x plus 4 is going to equal 20. Now that's divide by, so on the other side will be times by. So x plus 4 is equal to 200. That's plus 4, so on the other side will be minus 4. So x is equal to 200 minus 4, so x is equal to 196. Okay, this one is again using powers, so this is x to the power of a quarter. There's a negative and there's a 15. Powers are exponents, so they're second last on the list, and we've got a positive 15 here. So let's move that positive 15 to the other side, so it will become negative 15. So minus x to the power of a quarter is equal to 10 minus 15. So x to the power of a quarter is going to equal minus 5. Now because there's a negative and a negative, they actually cancel out because they're on both sides. So x to the power of a quarter is going to equal to 5. Now I need to move that power of a quarter to the other side, so I inverse it, so I flip the fraction upside down. So that will be 5 to the power of 4 over 1, but we don't write the 4 over 1, we just write the number 4. And 5 times by itself 4 times is equal to 625. With multiple operations we need to put together all of our individual steps that we've learnt so far. So we've got 3 bracket x plus 2 and bracket plus 10 equals 20. So that's times by. Now brackets is last on the list, so the inside of that's going to stay where it is for now until we move the plus 10 and the times by 3. So x plus 2 in brackets times 3. Now that's plus 10, so on the other side that will be minus 10. So 3x plus 2 is equal to 10. Now that's times by, so on the other side it will be divide by. X plus 2 is equal, well the brackets can disappear now because that's all by itself, is equal to 10 divided by 3. I'm going to leave the fraction there for a time being. Now I have x plus 2, so on the other side it's going to be minus 2. Now I'm just going to expand this out a bit. So x is equal to 10 over 3 minus 2. Now minus 2 can be written as a fraction out of a third. So x is equal to 10 over 3 minus 6 thirds, because 3 is going to 6 2 times. Now that they have the same denominator, 10 minus 6 is equal to 4, and of course it's still a fraction out of a 3. And if you want to do that as decimals, then that will be 0.75. With the next one, again we've got an expression over a very long division line, so that gets left to last because there is a brackets around that one. So I've got a minus times power and a divide by 6. So the first one we're going to shift is the minus 10. So 3x squared divided by 6 is equal to minus 20 plus 10. So 3x squared over 6 is equal to minus 10. Now, because that's still an expression over a big long division line, you've got divide by 6, so on the other side will be times by 6. So 3x squared is going to be equal to minus 10 times by 6, which is equal to minus 60, negative and a positive. So 3x squared is equal to 60, minus 60 I should say. Now that's times by. Remember, times comes before the exponents or the powers. So x squared is equal to minus 60 over 3. So x squared is equal to minus 20. So x will be equal to the square root of minus 20. Now for the last question here, there are multiple steps. We've got a square root, which is technically a power to a half. We've got a minus here, we've got a minus here, divide by 2, and a positive 10. So what we're going to do is this. We'll leave that as a group. So we're going to move the positive 10 to the other side. So we have the minus 4 minus 3 times the square root of x divided by 2 is going to equal 5 minus 10. So minus 4 minus 3 square root of x over 2 is going to equal minus 5. Now because there's a minus and a minus here, they can cancel out because they occur on both sides of the equation. So 4 minus 3 times the square root of x divided by 2 is equal to 5. Now, like I was saying before, if you've got an expression over a division line, technically there is some brackets around there. So the next thing we need to move is this divide by. So we shift it to the other side, it will become times by. So 4 minus 3 times the square root of x is equal to 5 times 2. So 4 minus 3 square root of x is equal to 10. Now I've got a positive number here, so I'm going to move that to the other side. So minus 3 times the square root of x is equal to 10 take 4. Minus 3 square root of x is equal to 6. Now I'll just come over to here because I need a bit more space. So minus 3 times by the square root of x is equal to 6. So that's times by, so on the other side it'll be divide by. So the square root of x is going to be equal to 6 divided by minus 3. So the square root of x is equal to minus 2. Positive, negative, must be negative. 3's and a 6 go twice. Now that is a square root, so or a power to a half. So on the other side it's going to be squared. So that's going to be minus 2 squared. Opposite of a square root is a square. So minus 2 times by itself is going to be equal to 4. And that's it.